Howdy folks, Timber Drifter here. Welcome once again to the Frozen North. This is sort of becoming a theme lately. It's April 30th. Now the snow's mostly melted. There was just a little bit of it left back in the deep woods and the south side of clearings and roads and things like that, and of course the plow piles. I'd say it was probably 90% melted a couple days ago. But yesterday it rained, and the rain turned into snow by evening, and it snowed all night long, and it's snowing now. I expect this will be the last of it. I haven't checked, but I heard from a friend the other day that we've had record snowfall this year in this area. So I think that's 4 out of the last 5 years we've had record snowfall, but that's just my memory. I'd have to check and see. Certainly 3 out of the last 5 anyway. So it's noon, Sunday. Just kind of hanging out, watching things. It's not really cold out. Just enjoying it, hoping this is the last of it, but also happy to be here. Happy to be here watching the snowfall. My roof is steel, recycled steel. Came from an old potato depot. So when it rains or snows, I can hear it on the roof. And last week we had a storm where it rained. Started out very soft rain during the middle of the day. Progressed on through all the different kinds of, from very light mist to heavy rain to sleet to very small little hail to big hailstones, and then clumps of icy slush falling from the sky, hitting the roof. And I sat there and listened to the whole thing. And then, of course, it turned into snow, which didn't last long. It didn't end up like this. But that was a beautiful evening, sitting by the wood stove, listening to the progression of frozen water falling from the sky. Simple things, man. Simple things like that. It just pleases me, makes me happy. I've bought a few cigars lately. Not very many. But I like to enjoy a cigar in the morning. In the morning when I'm not working. Otherwise, in the evening after I'm done wandering or working. Not every night. But these are pretty cheap. This was a Churchill. That's too much contrast, I'm sure. It's a Yuli's Honduran long filler handmade is all it says on the band, and the band's just printed paper. Nothing pretty, which is fine because it's a cheap cigar. I think I've paid right at $5 for these at my local shop that carries some cigars, which is a little cheaper than Yuli sells them on their website for Wisconsin residents. I believe they're made by Camacho for Yuli, but I might be wrong about that. It seems I remember reading that last year. Very good, well-constructed cigar. It's rare that I have one that burns uneven, other than this one. It happens occasionally, but I was smoking this one earlier for a couple hours, and I had to put it down for a couple hours, and now I've come back to it, so I probably didn't get it lit quite right. Or maybe as it set in the cigar holder, it changed it. Anyway, if you smoke them right through, they're quite good, but there was no funky taste relighting this one. It tasted just like it had before. I usually don't leave a band on a cigar I'm smoking unless it's a particularly pretty band, and I just enjoy looking at it. But I wanted to show that band to those of you who may be interested. Sometimes it's just nice to stand here and watch and listen to things happen. Which isn't usually much unless there's a storm rolling in. The ducks and geese have been coming back in, and of course the swans and the cranes. That's been happening for a couple of weeks. But every once in a while I'll just hear all this noise coming. And my hearing is not the best, so sometimes when I hear geese from a distance I look around, what is that? Until I finally get close enough I can actually hear them. But I love that sound, the geese flying north, just like I love the sound of the geese flying south. But the lakes are mostly right around here. There's not much ice left on them. There's a little bit. Other areas I hear the lakes are still solid. There's been a few people recently within the last few days that have tipped their boats over in between ice flows and had to be rescued. The usual spring stuff. People trying to get out fishing early, I suppose. Kind of understand that myself. I've got a hell of a desire to go fishing. But I'm going to wait a little while yet. I always think this time of year with all the waterfowl coming back into the area, if you were living in other times, say before this, when there weren't so many laws and not so damn many people around, and you're just coming off of a long winter, probably not eating the best towards spring, the arrival of the waterfowl would be welcome, so welcome. Not only because they're wonderful to see and listen to, they also taste really good. And you can often get quite a few of them and keep yourself well fed on them. But we don't hunt them in springtime. For good reason, there's too many people around these days. Competition for the resources. But in other times, that's how it would have been, I'm sure. I know hearing them coming in the spring always gets my blood up a little bit. Yeah, a few nights back, probably a week ago, sitting in the house in the evening there. That was a bunch of snow falling off a tree. It sounded like something was running up on me. Not exciting, nothing to see here. Anyway, I was sitting in the house late at night, and I could hear the geese on the next lake over, which isn't that far away. I could hear them clearly. It was a happy sound. They do that. They sit there and make noise all night sometimes. Trees aren't leafed out, obviously. I mean, the evergreens are. Other than the tamaracks, they're not popping back out yet. But so because of the cool night air and the no leaves on the trees, the sound really carries. So it's hard to tell. Those geese might not have been on the next lake over. They could have been miles away. Just a pleasurable afternoon. That's just afternoon. It's 12:23. Oh, I remember one thing I wanted to bring up. 10 minutes, I'll be quick. So, 2 nights ago, I downloaded that. I think it's called the YouTube Studio app. Just to see what was on it, I was curious. I've never had access to any of that information before. I don't see any of the analytics or anything on my YouTube page. Never have. That I remember anyway. Although YouTube's changed several times over the years, and I remember there being things there that aren't now. But I don't remember being able to see analytics on there. And I can't really change settings very much on my YouTube channel. But this app has all of that information on there. Watch time and demographics, who's watching, how long they watch, all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty neat. The other thing that I noticed is it shows comments in there. Which is, I like that because in the last few videos, maybe longer, I don't remember. YouTube only shows me the comments that come in, I'm going to say in the first 20 hours, seems like. Might be a little longer when I make a video or put a video out. And come in there and I'll see most of them, not all of them that come in. So for example, I think it was my last video, it might have been the one before, I don't remember, but 3 or 4 days after the video was up, I went and looked at the video and it showed there were, I don't know, 50 some comments. And I'd answered a couple, so a couple were my own comments. And I went through and it only showed 20 some comments actually on the video, so I figured it was bots or something like that, you know, that had just been deleted. But I was using a friend's phone the other day, searching something on her phone, and quick I looked at my YouTube channel, and there were a lot more comments visible looking at my YouTube channel through her account than there was on my channel. I don't know what that's about. I don't think that probably has anything to do with censorship, because now that I'm on the Studio app, I can go through and read all the comments. I think I can even answer them from there. I'm going to try it. Maybe tonight if I'm sitting around. But I don't think it's a censorship issue, because nothing said in any of the comments was worth censoring. So I don't think that's what it is. It's just YouTube screwing around with things on the back end, I guess. I'm not sure. But that's cool, seeing all the analytics and that kind of stuff. I like numbers in context. Data. So that's fun. So if you're like me and you've only used YouTube on mobile for many years, it might be worth downloading that app if you haven't seen it before. It opens up a whole lot more of what the platform is. Yeah, well, anyway, I'll stand here and finish my cigar, which is almost done. Just looking out toward the bog I live next to. Lakefront property 800 years ago. You won't see much open water out there now. There's a little bit. Not much. Pretty good size. Hill on the other side of it's sort of a horseshoe shape. This is the low side that I'm on here. It's almost a bluff over there. Yeah, lakefront property 800 years ago. But you won't see any realtors putting out signs on the lakeside like they do now, because there's nobody coming through here on boats. Just the occasional muddy old bear and snowshoe hare and coyotes and lots of birds. Cranes and geese and duck and all that out there by the open water. And me, I like it out there too. And the mosquitoes, of course, who will be back soon. Well, anyway, y'all take care. Get outside.